think it's sweet, I had to pave me away. Blame it on my city, that's what made me this way. I gotta jump out the porch and touch the pavement today. But I bet I make a killing before they take me away. Yeah. Before it's all said and done, they gon' know that we the ones. Before it's all said and done, they gon' know that we the ones.
Alright, we got Parker off in the lead, Stewart off in the chase. Parker coming up a little bit shallow in the zone. Stewart doing a good job of keeping that proximity. Parker hangs it out a little aggressive there, but we'll gather, doing a good job of gathering it back up. Stewart keeping that proximity. Parker doing a good job of keeping it off the wall. Both riders coming into the final zone. A little shallow in the final zone. Alright, we got Stewart off the lead, knocking that GS 300 body with the pretty patterns on that. Parker doing a good job of keeping that proximity up nice and close. Woo! Stewart getting real close to that clipping zone. Parker doing a good job of keeping that proximity up. Stewart staying on that qualifying line. Filling up zone 4, I believe, nicely. Both drivers doing a good job of getting through that sixth zone into the final zone. Both drivers getting across the line. Alright, we got Mason off in the lead, Keegan on the stage. Mason flicking into zone 1, doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line. Keegan keeping that proximity nice and close through zones 2 and 3. Keegan a little bit close on that clipping point. Coming into zone 4, both drivers doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line, giving each other enough room to transition. Mason staying on that qualifying line through zone 5 into our final zone. Both drivers doing a good job. Nice and smooth run, just like we're going to see. We're going to flip it around. Alright, we got Keegan on the lead, Mason on the chase. Keegan doing a good job of getting into that first zone. Mason looking to apply that pressure just real close through zones 2 and 3. Both drivers doing a good job of backing off into that touch and go. For that nose flip, sorry. Coming out of zone 4. Keegan doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line. We're going to put a little bit of distance on himself. Mason's doing a good job of keeping that proximity up nice and close. Both drivers finishing across the line. Coming out Mason. Good job, brother. Alright, so we got Adam in the lead. Drilling a little bit shallow into that first zone. We're looking to close that proximity back up, coming out of zone 2 and 3. Adam doing a good job of getting back into that qualifying low to zone 4. Adam looking to put a little bit of a distance on between zone 5. Remote doing a good job of keeping up the wall as he should. Adam pulling across. Remote across. Alright. We got Remote in the lead. Adam off in the chase. Adam looking to close that distance up, coming into zone 2 and 3. Into the nose clip. Remote doing a good job of keeping off the cone. I'm getting a little aggressive there coming into zone 4. We'll see how the judges, what the judges have to think about that. Coming out of zone 5, both drivers doing a good job of gathering it back up nicely. Adam right back in proximity where he should be. Ramel staying on the qualifying line. Adam going to be walking that round. Alright, we got Preston off in the lead. Quick flicking into zone 1. Anthony coming up, gathering it back up into zone 3. Both drivers doing a good job of getting around that nose divide there. Preston doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line through zone 4. Both drivers setting up into zone 5 nicely. Anthony doing a good job of keeping that proximity. Preston gets a little bit of contact coming into the final zone. Not sure who the initiator. Alright, so Anthony off in the lead. Doing a good job of getting up into zone 1, a little shallow through zone 2 and 3. But there's a little bit of contact coming into that nose flip into zone 4. Both drivers doing a good job of gathering it back up. Setting up nicely into this 5th zone. Preston's getting right back in the pocket where he used to be. And Anthony put down a solid lead. Right there, filling up the final zone nicely. Both around. Alright, so we got Rob off in the lead. James on the chase. Rob hanging it out the drive through zone 2 and 3. James doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line, getting real aggressive coming out of zone 4. Podium is going to set up into zone 5 nicely. Rob gets nice and deep against the wall. James right there with him through zone 5. It's the flick. James Rob up with Rob to get that transition, and both drivers back right up into the zone where they should be. All right, we got James off in the lead. Rob in tow. Both drivers doing a good job getting through zone 2, throttling through zone 3. Sets them up real nice into zone 4. Both drivers doing a good job of getting it off the wall, staying on that qualifying line. Ooh, Rob gets a little aggressive coming into zone 5. This is first to track though, so we will see how this plays out. Good more for that round. James good more for that round. Team is flicking into zone 1. Does a good job of getting through zone 1. Puts up a little shallow through zone 2. Stewart right in tow where he should be. Setting up into zone 4 very nicely. Keegan looking to apply that pressure coming into zone 4. Coming through zone 5. Keegan hangs it out to dry through zone 5. Does a good job of gathering it back up. Stewart doing a good job of giving Keegan enough room to make any corrections he needs. We're going to... All right, so we got Stewart off in the lead. Keegan on the chase. Stewart doing a good job of flicking into zone 1. Gets through zone 2 and 3 real nicely. Keegan looking to find that pressure coming into zone 4. Flicks right into the pocket. We're doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line. Keep the run nice and clean. Getting into zone 5. Overputs it a little bit into zone 5. Keegan is going to move on from that round. So Keegan's going to move that round. All right, so we got Adam off in the lead. Press in the chase. Adam hangs it out aggressive into zone 1. Didn't really see any car movement though, so we'll see how the judges play that. Both drivers going to end up getting through zone 2 and 3. Adam aggressive flicking into zone 4. First doing a good job of staying in that pocket, getting that qualifying line. All right, so we got Preston in the lead. Adam on the chase. Both drivers doing a good job of getting through zone 1 and 2. All right. A little bit of contact in there coming out of zone 3. We'll see how judges play. Adam aggressive into the 5th zone, setting up into the final zone. Both drivers are crossed the line. All right, so we got Rob off in the lead. Keegan on the chase. Rob's doing a good job of hanging it out through zone 1 and 2. Keegan keeping on that proximity through zone 3. Both drivers doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line. Rob nice and tight zone on all the zones. Coming into the final zone. Both drivers doing a good job of keeping that proximity up right on that qualifying line. All right, we got Keegan on the lead. Rob on the chase. Keegan doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line, getting nice and diva against that wall. Looks like there was a little bit of love tapping coming into zone 3. Couldn't really tell where it was, but ooh, Rob aggressive flinging into zone 5. Both are doing a good job of gathering it back up, heading into zone 6. Trying to get a little bit of the wall into zone 2. We still got a long way to go. Rob doing a good job of keeping that proximity nice and close. Getting right up in Preston's door. Both drivers doing a good job of getting through zones 4 and 5 into this final zone. Preston hanging it out. Preston door. All right, so we got Preston in tow. Rob on the chase. Rob quick flicking it into zone 1, hanging the angle out through zone 2 and 3. Both drivers doing a good job of getting through. No contact into those first 3 zones. Setting up into zone 4. Preston applying that pressure, setting up nice into zone 5. Does a good job keeping it off the wall. Rob doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line. Oh, Rob hanging that angle out. Door to door. That one, Rob's going to move on from that round. Flipping it around. All right, we got Chai in the lead, Tanner on the chase. Chai doing a good job of flicking it into zone 1. 1. Tanner right, knocking on that door through zone 2 and 3. Try hanging it out through zone 4. Does a good job filling up zone 4. Both drivers doing a good job staying on that qualifying line. Tanner aggressive into zone 5, putting down a chase while Chines put down a solid lead, staying on that qualifying line. Both drivers.
Tanner, you had contact at zone 3 as well.
Right lap. Great. All right, we got Ant in the lead, right on the chase. Both drivers moving up and flicking into zone 1. Anthony getting deep and against the wall into zone 3, setting up nice into zone 4. Wyatt looking to apply that pressure coming into zone 4, gets a little piece of Ant's door coming through zone 5. Wyatt doing a good job of keeping up that proximity. Anthony nice, staying on that qualifying line, getting deep into those zones. Fills the final zone up nicely. All right, we got Wyatt off the lead, Anthony off the chase. Wyatt flicking into zone 1, gets nice and tight into zone 2. Anthony applying that pressure like he should come into zone 3. Wyatt doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line, gets aggressive into zone 4, does a good job of gathering it back up, gets aggressive into zone 5. Wyatt really laying it down. Gets deep, fills the zone up nice. Anthony applying that pressure through the final zone. Both drivers. Solid runs, Wyatt. Solid runs. All right, we got Yogi in the lead. Bob on the chase. Yogi flipping into zone 1, doing a good job of getting it nice and deep into zone 3. Rob applying that pressure coming out of zone 3, staying right where he should be. Yogi right on that qualifying line. Getting deep on the ankle into zone 4. Both drivers keeping it pretty close. Rob's getting into the door a little bit, coming out of zone 5. Sets up out to zone 6 now. Alright, we got Rob in the lead, Yogi on the chase. Rob doing a good job of flicking into zone 1, getting deep in the ankle, coming into zone 2 and 3. Rob throttling through. Doing a good job of staying on that qualifying line. Yogi right where he should be, as expected, right in the pocket, right on that door, coming out of zone 4. Quick flicking into zone 5. Rob hanging it out to drive through zone 5. Yogi doing a good job backing up, allowing Rob to get corrected. Both drivers door across. Yeah, I think. All right, so we got Tino off in the lead. Vince off in the chase. Tino going to go. Hangs it out aggressive into zone 2. Does a good job of gathering it back up. Vince right where he should be as far as proximity goes. Both drivers doing a good job of gathering it back up through zone 4. Tino flips into zone 5. It's all with zone 5. Vince right where he should be. Knocking on that door in the final zone. Both drivers swaddling it out. All right, so we got Vince off the lead. Tino off the chase. Sorry, a little technical difficulty there. Filling up through zone 3 and 4. Well, mine on time, but we'll go ahead and finish this battle out. We'll get it swapped up. Both drivers doing a good job of getting through zone 4 and 5. Door to go across the line. Vince going to move on from that one. That's me. Cool. Alright, so we got both drivers. Looking up getting off the line. Chris looking to close that. Proximity up, aggressive into zone 2 and 3. Still doing a good job staying on that qualifying line. Chris with that Mustang rocking right on through zone 4. Both drivers flicking into zone 5. Getting deep against the wall. Chris with a good job staying right in that pocket. Dylan put down a solid lead. Both drivers door to door across the line. Alright, we got Chris off in the lead. Flicking into zone 1. Here we go. Dylan doing a good job keeping that proximity up. Chris right on that qualifying line. Hangs it out deep through that nose split zone. Chris doing a good job staying on that qualifying line. Dylan looking to apply that pressure coming into zone 5. Chris hanging it out against the wall from zone 5. Solid lead by Chris. Solid take by Dylan. We'll give it good score. Alright, so we got Dylan off in the lead. Chris in tow. Dylan doing a good job of flipping into zone 1. Chris aggressive into zone 2 and 3. Dylan doing a good job of keeping up that qualifying line, doing a nice and solid, smooth run. Chris looking to apply that pressure, aggressive into zone 5. Both drivers down and up through zone 6. We'll get across the line. All right, we got Chris off in the lead. Quick flicking into zone 1. Dylan in chase. Both drivers doing a good job of filling up zone 2. But took a little shower into zone 3. Dylan coming up a little aggressive out of zone 3 as well. Moving contact coming through zone 4. We're going to have to clean this one up. Coming through zone 5. We will see what the judges got to say. Little hoppy action coming out of zone 5. Those are doing a good job getting it up to zone 6. Dylan. Alright, so we got RJ off in the lead. Trying to chase both drivers. Aggressive flicking into zone 1. RJ doing a good job filling up zone 2 and 3 nicely. A little bit of contact there coming out of zone 3. Ty doing a good job keeping that proximity nice and close. RJ put down a good lead run. Ty right there, gathered up to zone 5. Both drivers doing a good job getting close on that flick into zone 6. Alright, we got Ty. Aggressive flick into zone 1. Ty doing a good job of clearing up through zone 2, gets a little shallow through zone 3. RJ looking to apply that pressure coming out of zone 3. Ty laying down a solid lead run coming through zone 4. RJ right there knocking on the door. Ty getting deep into zone 5. Both drivers doing a good job getting through this track into zone 6. Next up we're going to have. Alright, Greg off in the lead and on the finish. Greg quick flicking into zone 1. Does a good job getting through zone 2. Both drivers filling up through zone 3. Moving tickets coming into zone 3. Both drivers doing a good job gathering up. Getting through zone 3. Greg doing a good job of laying down a solid lead run. Anthony right in tow. Anthony doing a good job of allowing Greg to make all the transitions. Both drivers. Alright, so we got Ann off in the lead. Aggressive flick into zone 1. Greg right there with him. Doing a good job off the line. Keeping that proximity up nice and close. A little bit of contact coming out of zone 3. No big movement, so we'll keep on keeping on. Both drivers doing a good job of coming through zone 4. Set up nicely into zone 5. Anthony getting deep into zone 5. Greg doing a good job staying right in that pocket. Keeping that proximity nice and close. Alright, we got Yogi off in the lead. Vince in chase. Yogi doing a good job of filling up zone 1, 2, and 3. Vince right there on the door. Yogi doing a good job staying on that qualifying line. Showing us all the zone 4. Vince doing a good job keeping that proximity up. Allows enough room for Yogi to transition into zone 5. Both drivers doing a good job of filling up zone 4 into the final zone. Door to door. Alright, so we got Vince off in the lead. Yogi quick flicking already off the bat. Vince deep into zone 2. Both drivers doing a good job of filling up zone 2 and 3. Yogi applying that pressure early on through zone 3 into zone 4. Both drivers doing a good job of getting out of zone 4, set up into zone 5. Door to door to zone 5. You'll be applying that pressure hard coming into zone 6. Vic not moving an inch. Staying on the qualifying line as he's down.
Wow.
All right, we got RJ in the lead, Anthony on the trace. RJ aggressive into zone 1. Anthony right where he should be, coming into zone 3. Both drivers doing a good job getting out of zone 3. A little bit of checkup coming out into that touch and go. Both drivers doing a good job gathering it up through zone 4. Killing it through zone 5. Both drivers aggressive, flicking into zone 6. Anthony applying that pressure hard. All right. Anthony off in the lead. RJ in chase. Anthony speed boring through zone 1 and 2. Gets a piece of the wall into zone 3. RJ doing a good job of being right on that proximity up into zone 4. Both drivers laying down solid runs. Anthony deep into zone 5. Both drivers gathering up through zone 6. Getting across the line, and here we go.
It's because he hit it.
All right.
You both have slight contact.
Alright, we got RJ in the lead. Yogi off in the chase. RJ doing a good job gathering it up through zone 1. Yogi applying that pressure, aggressive into zone 2. RJ doing a good job staying on that qualifying line. Yogi right where we'd expect him, in the pocket. RJ aggressive, slick into zone 5, gets deep against the wall into zone 5, coming into zone 6. RJ throttling it out, Yogi right in tow. Alright, drivers off, Yogi aggressive, slick into zone 1, gets deep into zone 1. RJ quick to apply that pressure coming into zone 2 and 3. Both drivers top, king of the crop. As you'd expect, both drivers doing a good job getting out through zone 3, 4, coming through zone 5. RJ aggressive into zone 5. Yogi doing a good job staying on that qualifying line through zone 6, door to door, cross the
Guys, in your first place, overall winner for tonight, and perfect win. Look at RJ.
Good stuff. I like it.
Second place goes to Yogi. Hey guys, I just want to point out, a few weeks ago, Yogi went ahead and won first place at SDC.
Thank you, brother.
I don't know if
Yeah, he did.
You won it so far. We got everybody to down.
So, as everybody said, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We appreciate you guys, coming to spend your time with us.
Mr. Cool Guy.
Real quick though, if you want to say, the driving tonight has been great.